Welcome to another DBD stream video, all that sort of thing. It's been a while, not just for you, because I didn't post any videos last week, but also for me. I haven't recorded because I wasn't able to record over the holidays. Real life stuff getting in the way, so I haven't even played for a couple weeks. So we'll see how well this goes. But speaking of how this goes, what's my thing? Oh, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. So PTB 6.5.0 is up, and it's going to be coming live after their public test stuff. And I thought, how about we get back into the swing of things with me giving my analysis of the PTB. Now, of course, again, just like all the other ones I've talked about, I'm not in it. But what do you expect? Like, I didn't have time to even record a stream, let alone make a YouTube video, let alone remember to actually get involved with the PTB stuff. So yeah, I'm not in it. No surprise, right? Anyway, so I thought I will give my thoughts on the PTB. Now, first of all, it is going to work a little better than other times I've done this for two reasons. One, when I did this with like Forge and Fog and I had to I was analyzing the perks, it's kind of, I thought I did a decent enough job of thinking about the perks, but I can't show them off, right? This one, there's nothing really to show off. It's really you'll be able to get everything I talk about. So that's not going to be as bad. Two, or B, or whatever I said first. When I was doing the Forge and Fog thing, it was oh, I have to try and get a good match and a good video for, and so it's well, this was a good match, but I didn't talk enough about stuff, so maybe I shouldn't use it. Or, oh, I talked really well, but the match was crappy, so I'm just gonna talk from start to end, going over my thoughts. You get to watch me load in, you get to watch me queue, you get to watch the match, you get to watch if I lose, if I get tunneled, if I do great, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna give my thoughts on the PTB. Now, you might be wondering, why do I care what you think about the PTB? I could go and watch someone else who does this. Trying to figure out how to say this. So, I love, one of my favorite streamers is Odds. And so if you want, Odds' opinion on the PTB stuff, by all means, go and watch it too. I love to see what he has to say about stuff. But there's a big old but. And it's Ada's over there. But aside from that, who do we have? We have, is that a demo? It is a demo. I figure you might actually want to know someone like my opinion, right? But you're not someone who's played this game for thousands of hours. You don't play this every day as your job, streaming it. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point why you might actually care what someone like me thinks, because presumably you watching this are more like that than you are Otts or Scott or whoever like that. Maybe you're someone who plays, got 10,000 hours under your belt and you play professionally and you play in tournaments and you just want to hear what I have to say. Cool. Thank you for listening. But if you play and you're watching this, you're probably like me. You're not a complete newbie at the game being what's a generator? I'm gonna just hide in this closet so no one finds me. Is that okay, guys? But, you're probably not doing this every day as a professional. And so I figure my thoughts, hide in the bush, hide in the bush, just a bush. You might have barbecue. Now that I'm not focusing on not getting caught, you might want to know what just sort of a regular dude has to think about stuff. What the? Oh, there's two Adas. I did not realize that. I got very confused. I was all right, I saw Ada going off there. She's probably going to that gen. And then I come up here and there's Ada already working on it. So, my thoughts as a beginner who gets easily taken out, picked off. You don't want to hear my thoughts, Demo? Oh, look, he is stopping to listen. Okay. So, here are my thoughts. Overall, it's, I think, a pretty good PTB. It's pretty good changes coming. Now, I say that as a survivor. There's a few things killers might go, hey, wait a minute, for. But overall, except for one specific killer, I think basically everyone can agree. Some people will be salty because they're always sad about any change that happens. But I think overall, people can agree this is a good change overall. Or at the worst, they're just kind of it doesn't really affect me, whatever, I don't care. I've got a few of those. It's just, So let's start with the top. Probably the most exciting point is survivor HUD icons. Yeah, you want to chase me? You want to chase this delicious booty? No, you don't. Okay. Anyway, survivor HUD icons. Like, look over to the left. You see, like, okay, Steve's healthy. One Ada and Jeff are injured. Someone's downed. Oh, now they're on the hook. They're adding a bunch of new icons. Specifically, doing healing here. All right. 1, repairing a generator. 2, healing. 3, recovering from the dying state, which is I'm gonna give an asterisk on that. I'll get back to that. 4, cleansing or blessing a totem, so interacting with a totem in any way. 5, opening an exit gate, or 6, interacting with the killer's power. Now, that means, for just in case you're wondering, like, interacting with the killer's power stuff like so. Say you have a bear trap on your head against the pig, it'll show you getting rid of that. It'll show you waking up against Freddy. Now, I don't know if it would give stuff like... Well, okay, so here's another thing. There's a few things I saw listed that aren't in this list. Because I was reading about this last night, and then I found a different thing today, so I don't know if this one just doesn't mention it, or if they're not happening, or what. The things that I saw mentioned are, that I don't see on this particular list, are A, interacting with a chest, which I thought of just because I opened that chest, and B, being carried by the killer. So that's, I don't know if those are happening or not. Like, maybe they decided not to do those. Maybe they're gonna do those. I don't know. And just like recovering from the dying state wasn't on the other list. Now it is. So we'll see exactly which icons get added. But either way, in general, there are going to be more icons. And besides that, there's one thing that's not exactly an icon, but they're adding in who is being chased. And you're like, but they already have that. Look, right now, Ada's being chased. Because she's the obsession. That's the only reason you know that. They are adding those. Well, so I've always called them pincers because they're like click, 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 click. I guess they're called like entity claws in the thing I read, but whatever you want to call them. They are adding smaller versions of those to everybody. And so, or I don't know if they're adding them to everybody or if they just show up when they're being chased. But either way, the obsession will still have the really big ones, just like they do now, so that you know, like, obsession-related perks. But they will add little claws to show who is being chased. So as a survivor, like, it's like, now if the killer was on some, like, if the killer was chasing Steve, I'd know it. Right now, I don't. Which is, you know, mainly useful for survivors, but it is actually also used for killer, like, because, you know, there's 2 Adas dressed the same. Say you had a lobby of 4 people all dressed the same. You know, the killer can tell which person they're chasing without having to look at, you know, like, oh, this person has this one charm, this other one doesn't. Ow. I tried. That's okay. Get her out. Get her out. I don't need to go out. I'm just trying to help. I mean, if I can get out too, sure, but that's gonna be kind of a long way. Yeah, so this survivor icons definitely is the most exciting for me in solo queue. All right, everyone's here. I'm out. Oh, an achievement, rebuilding the Borgo. I guess that's the first time I've escaped on that map. Huh. These icons are pretty neat. The reason why, so like, as if you're a survive with friends with like 4 people in your group, no, this isn't going to do anything for you because you can still be like, all right, I'm down behind check. I'm halfway recovered. I see the killer over at this building or like this structure. They're waiting at the pallet around. Yeah, you're still going to have an advantage doing survive with friends with 4 people. That's no different. But this kind of helps bridge that gap because there's always been this massive disparity between survive with friends and solo queue. And this is going to help fix that. Like, so think about the beginning of the beginning of the match. 3 people working on gens in different areas. 1 person, the 4th person gets downed, put on a hook. Now, how many times have you seen or been playing yourself or been on the hook and been like, well, what the heck? Where all the people on the gens are like, well, okay, that's someone else's business. Like, I'm far away from that hook. Someone else can get it. They're probably closer than I am. I saw that they brought a flashlight. They're probably over there. Except that every single person is thinking that. They're all thinking like, oh, I'm not the closest one. Someone else will get it. Now you're not going to have that. I mean, so, yeah, it's as chat says, it's intel. It tells you what they're doing, but not why. So, I mean, you could still have that. You could still have 3 people working on gens and not going for the rescue. And as the hook person, you're like, what the hell, guys? And so it's not going to, like, make survivors care about people more or anything like that. But at least now, you're at the start and you're like, okay, someone's like, oh, we're all working on gens. I'll go for that unhook. So the 2 other people are like, oh, that person got off their gen. So, okay, we'll keep working. Well, now also with the thing of, who's being chased. Say, person 1 is going to rescue person 4, but suddenly they have their little boop, 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 boop. Person 2 might be like, oh, that person's being chased, so I'll get off the gen and I will get the unhook while they're being chased. Meanwhile, person 3 is like, okay, person 1 got off, is getting chased. Person 2 is now going for the rescue because I see they're not working anymore. I will keep working on this gen. It's not a perfect system of what people, communicating with people, but it gives you a lot of information. This one thing about, like, recovering from the dying state, like, that's the single most interesting one to me. Like, if you could only pick one, that one is kind of nice. Like, it's not game-changing, but now you'll know, I guess, if people are still recovering. Like, so if someone's down, they can just start recovering. And like, oh, they're still recovering. I shouldn't go pick them up yet. Whereas, they recover, and then they get to the point they can't do anymore. They stop. Like, okay, now they're ready for me to come get them. Now, this won't stop people who, like, don't recover. They want to crawl away first. Then you're like, oh, they're crawling. It must be great. And then, no, they were, they were crawling and now they're recovering. But yeah, interesting. The killer won't see any of this, of course, because if the killer's like, oh, this person's working on a totem, though, that person's healing, these 2 are on a gen. Like, that would, give away too much stuff. But yeah, I think it's nice. As a survivor, especially, I think it's nice. But even as a killer, like, I don't mind it. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm survivor focused, so I don't do killer often, but, like, I don't... Like, as a killer, you just kind of assume everyone's on comms anyways. And so, like, you already have to plan for the worst, that everyone knows what everyone else is doing, just in case they are. So, just this gives the fact that, okay, they're going to all have a vague idea, at least. Which isn't really any different from how you have to treat it now. So, as a survivor, it's like, yes. And as a killer, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. So that's that one. And, I only gave the one example at the start of the match, but, like, it's useful in the middle of the match and stuff, too. Like, so say, like, like in the match we just had. Now, everyone was, like, sort of close together, saw what was happening. Everyone was good on the teamwork stuff. But let's say that other people were at a further gate than they were. They could see, like, oh, Ada's on the hook. And Jeff is being chased, so I should go get this unhook now before I finish opening the exit gate. And that's cool. It just, it helps people know what they... Nah, I was gonna say what they should be doing. Well, what they could be doing. We'll go with that. Great, Nurse. I do have to talk about you, Nurse, but I'm not gonna do that yet. No, thank you. Someone's trying to play Nurse before she gets nerfed really hard. Hey. Speaking of, yeah, Nurse is one that I'm saving her kind of for last. A, because as I said, I'm going in order, but... But besides that, hers is the most complicated of all the changes. Anyway. Hi, you came early. You're here too early for your talk, lady. Go back to the audience for now. Merciless. I guess we are talking about killers, though, so good job for that. Merciless? Well, I mean, all of the killer rankings at the end are being changed, and it makes so much more sense now. Now, I don't really... You know, this is one of the ones where I'm just kind of like, okay, as are most people, because the only thing it really makes a difference in is getting adept achievements as killer. Specifically, now they're not super ass hard to do. Which is both super ass hard and super ass hard. Yeah, I've read XKCD. I know what you're saying in the comments and in your thoughts, but I'm one step ahead of you. The way Merciless worked before... Okay, let me do this. The way that adept achievements worked before, and I'm saying this, like, there's no change to the achievement, but there is a, you know, this is, the achievements are kind of the only thing that matter for this. Go get her. Go get her. I'm leading her away. Go get her. Go get her. Anyway, Merciless, yeah. While I lead this nurse to the corner. The way it worked for adept achievements before is for survivors, it's always been the same thing. Use your 3 default perks and escape. That's always been how it worked. Killers have to get Merciless. And Merciless was a lot harder to do while using their 3 default perks for the achievement. Blah, blah. Getting Merciless is not just playing well, it's playing well in a specific way. Because, like, say you start a match and you just go and insta-down everyone, put them on hooks right away, you're like, oh, right, I did great. Well, the game doesn't think so because, like, you have to have a certain number of chases that end with you, like, downing people. If you get everyone in one chase, you're not going to get an iridescent ranking, which means you're not going to get, you know, high enough points. You know, you have to get hook stages. So if someone just gives up, you won't get all of the hooks you need. If someone is put on the hook and no one rescues them, it counts as 1 hook instead of 3. And you need, like, all hook stages, I think, for the iridescent. It's not a good time. It's bad. So now the way it works is just your how the game describes your killer is just 0 kill, 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kill, 4 kill. That's it. So to get adept stuff, you just need to use your 3 perks, get 4 kills, and then, you know, you get your thing. Hooray. All right. While we're sitting here in the queue, that's a great time to talk about the next thing, the queuing experience. I'll just kind of read what they say. It's pretty self-explanatory. So players are now able to browse the store, the archives, and daily rituals while queuing for a match, is the first part. If I, like, and that's just great. It's like, I'm waiting for it to find someone. I can look at my current quest, but I can't, like, look to see what other ones I have available. I can't, do I have a survivor quest? Let me get out of the queue. Okay, no, those are just killer things. Okay, now I know. Oh, hey, does he have a new outfit? Let me check. I can't. Now you can look at all that. Great. And they've already thought ahead twice. If you're in the store and you get put into a thing, the match, like the load thing, will wait for you to finish your transaction. If you're like, I want to buy something, it's not going to just kick you out. You're like, did I buy it? Did it go through? Like, did it steal my money? Do I have it or not? And then on the flip side, they already thought of some people being like, haha, I'll get in the store and get a purchase ready and then never do it, and then the match can never start. No, if it takes too long, the game will just say, okay, get out of here, come back when you're ready to play. So yeah, it's just kind of like a, you know, it's not a major change, but it's a good one. It's something you can do while you're waiting. And even more interesting, killers can now customize their people, their other killer stuff. So, like, because as Survivor, because Survivors all play the same, it's just about perks. if you're loading for a match, I don't know if it works when you're in this screen, but, you know, in the load screen, let's pretend I was still there. You know, as Survivor, you can be like, oh, I want to, like, okay, let's, you know, pick Jane and see, like, okay, what's Jane's loadout? Oh, what are her things that she's using? Oh, you know, loadout. Boop. Sure. Speaking of loadout, boop. Sure. Finished that Saboteur quest a while ago. I don't actually need that on. Killers could never do that because, like, when you pick a killer, you're stuck as that killer. So you can't, like, come in and say, like, oh, I want to be someone else with seeing these, like, oh, they're all using toolboxes. I don't want to be, you know, Trapper. I want to be Plague. You can't do that. Well, at least when you're still looking for a match, I don't know about this screen, you can now, as a killer, still customize other characters. So you could be like, oh, well, I want to play as Trapper, but, you know, I want to look at my Huntress stuff right now. So you could, like, pick Huntress and say, like, okay, you know, I got this new charm, let's put that in instead. Or, oh, I want to take this perk off, right. Now, the game will still say, like, while it's looking for match, it will still say, like, you're playing Trapper or whatever. So you still are forced to do the same kill. You can't switch that around. You know, that's a nice change. You know, again, it's it's fine. It's not a big change, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, a nice little quality of life thing. The next thing, wiggling. Part of me is like, wait till you get down and then talk about it. No. I'll just start talking about it, get downed anyways. So two things with wiggling. Now here's one, excuse me, where the first part, I'm like, and other people might be like, no, but the thing that I've been, you know, you see me, when I wiggle, it goes, you know, boop, 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 like they call it like a ping pong mechanic where it spins around and you have to get the two different sides compared to the old one of mashing the buttons on the keyboard. Mashing buttons on a keyboard will no longer be an option. They're taking that out of the game. It is just going to be the skill check one. So some people might not like that. They're like, I don't like skill checks. And you probably shouldn't be playing Survivor, but, you know, that's the way it is. For me, that's, I opted into that and have been using it ever since, because as a streamer, it's a lot nicer to do that than that, because I'm pretty sure you heard that. I know I've changed my mic settings a few times since I started playing, but you probably still heard me doing that, and it doesn't sound great. And, like, it's not great for your keyboard, just being like, mash, mash, mash. Bye. Let's see. I wanted to stop Wraith from getting us. I'd do that. Let's just keep going. I want to find a pallet. There's a pallet. Nope. Pre-drop that bitch in your face. What was I talking about? Wiggling! Right, so the default is now the skill check one. I think that's fine. It's more in tune with doing skill checks as Survivor anyway. So I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I think that's whatever. Like, I've been using it in nothing but that since the change first happened anyway, so who cares? The other change, though, it's, you know, here's the thing where it's actually negative. It's a nerf to Survivors. But I'm still like, okay, I guess if it makes sense, then sure. I guess the feedback they were getting is that getting great skill checks during the wiggle, you could shave off up to a second of wiggle time, which was too much, and people didn't like it. Or at least killers didn't like it. I guess Survivors did. And so they're like, okay, well, you can't do that anymore. It's not going to shave off time. So, yes, that's annoying. I got a thing taken away from me as Survivor. Wah, wah, wah. I'm so mad. Except, like, if the current wiggle is still as fast as the previous, like, because you could only mash so fast, like, without being a robotic program. You know, there's only so fast you can mash your fingers. So, like, if the current wiggle is that fast anyway, who cares? Like, yeah, we lost a little accidental buff. I'm, you know, sad that we don't have a buff as Survivors, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. So that's, you know, a thing that I hope that you also learn, you take from me. Not just that I don't care, but You know, you can have something negatively affect you, and it can still be okay change for the game. You can feel sad that they took something away from your side, but realize that maybe this is for the better. If they didn't intend for the wiggle to be faster, or as fast as it was, then maybe it's okay that they're taking it away again, even if it negatively impacts you. Oh, hi, do you want healing? Or do you just want to listen to my dulcet tones? Wiggling. The other part about wiggling is, though, to make up for that they are taking away that, they will make great skill checks shift the killer more from side to side, which is, you know, not really a big deal, but, you know, I could count on one hand the times that's, like, made a difference to my, like, walking, where, like, yeah, there have been 1 or 2 times where I'm carrying someone and, you know, I got, you know, pushed into a wall, and so I lost too much time. There we go. They haven't been up yet. We'll take a thing. Okay. Yeah, so wiggling will now wiggle the killer if you do well, which is, you know, not as good, but at least it's something. You know, and to make up for it, they are also giving the great skill check zone a little bigger because it's not doing as much, so that's nice, I guess. They didn't have to. They could have just said, like, yeah, you're getting too much less carry time if you're getting all great skill checks. We're just changing it to change the killer. But no, they're saying, well, it's not as good now, so you get a little bigger zone. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's all there is to say about wiggling. Okay, now we're getting into the 2 actual changes. More than just quality of life stuff. There's some bigger changes to 2 of the killers. Actually, no, there is one thing. It's not on this list, so I don't know if it's still happening or not, but it's not on this list, but I saw it on the other list, and so it might just be it's because it's not going on the PTB, and it's just going to come out when the PTB goes live, which would make sense because what it is cosmetic, in that I'm not sure, they've talked about it before, and I don't know the details, but it's something about buying outfits with iridescent shards. Now, I don't know if it's a case of you can get previous outfits that were only available for Oryx cells after a time with iridescent shards, or if it's a case of, like, you know, these are outfits that were in previous tomes that are now available via shards. You know, I don't know the details of... Yeah, you come this way. Come on. Or not. So yeah, it makes sense that it's not on this list of PTB changes, because, like, why would they put that in the like, they'll just put that in the store when the PTB's done. So, you know, that's another change. Just kind of, okay. Like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just a thing. Like, maybe more cosmetics is good, so, like, outfits that were only available as Oryx cells being available now for anyone? Sure. Or, you know, previous tomes that people weren't here for, whatever it is. Like, I don't see a bad side of this, so that's cool. You know, is it happening or not? I don't know. It's listed in this thing I copied before I went streaming. It was not... I can't say this right. It's not listed in this thing that I copied before I started streaming. It is listed in the thing I was reading last night. So it could just be a case, like, maybe they're not doing it yet, or maybe it's just they don't need to, you know, make it list it because it's not coming into PTB because there's nothing to test. It's just, we're going to put stuff up for sale. Okay. The 2 bigger changes. Well, I mean, the Survivor HUD stuff is a big change. Okay, the 2 bigger changes for Killer, which I will spend some blood points on Killers while I do that. Am I done with your stuff yet? Oh, all right. The first point of business is the knight. Like, why aren't you leveling the knight? Because I'd rather get all the skills on Nemesis before knight, that's why. Come on, man, get with the program. Oh. Never mind, I am leveling the knight. I haven't got his thing up yet. He's only at blood level, he's only at 1 ascension. Ascension, that's not the right word. 1 prestige, there we go. So never mind, I'm doing the knight now, good times. That worked out well. The knight is getting some buffs because people were rightfully so being like, about this guy. I don't even remember what any of these do. I'm just talking while I spend stuff. The main thing is that the knight's basically only been used, his power is being used to stop loops, which in the few times I've played knight, you've seen me do. Like, I don't generally draw a path out around the map. I'm just like, oh, I'm at this loop. Just go like, whoop, send the guy out to make someone run to the next area. And they're like, well, we don't want you to do it that way. And people are like, well, that's really all he's good for. So they are changing it. So he has a bunch of buffs when you draw a thing more than 10 meters. One is... That's wiggling again. Don't need to read that again. So one thing is that when you draw a path more than 10 meters, the orb shrinks with the distance traveled, and after 10 meters, it will completely disappear, so a survivor will not see it. That's a pretty good change if you're trying to like go whoop right up to a survivor with your guard. Another thing is if you draw more than 10 meters, you get the haste effect. Because, of course, the problem is, like, if you're chasing a survivor and you're like, all right, I'm going to send this guy out to go all the way up here, well, you're still way down here, so they're giving you a haste effect so you can go like, ha, and catch up. And again, it only works if you do it more than 10 meters, so you can't just, like, throw out a thing and then immediately have haste. Because that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to use long-range stuff. I guess it's saying that like at 10 meters you have haste for 2 seconds up to a maximum distance of 32 meters, which gives you 6 seconds of haste. So it's not like major, 2 to 6 seconds, but enough that you can kind of catch up after using your power instead of just being left in the dust. The guards get a change. If their patrol path is more than 10 meters, the time that it takes the guard to reach the survivor is now decreased. I'm trying to read this. The reduction depends on the length of your paths, ranging from the default 10% to a maximum of 25% if the path reaches 32 meters. Basically, the longer your patrol path, the faster your guard will move once they detect a survivor. Not related to stuff now, using a guard to damage a generator does 5% instead of 2.5%. So it's worth it a little more, but you still don't trigger any of your perks like, Eruption or Call of Brine or anything like that, so that's still kind of But okay, they buffed that number, sure. And then there is one nerf, because I guess something to do with the terror radius being hidden, I guess, while you're using your power. And I don't know, it's something, it just is, while using his power, the knight is now forced out of guard summon mode after 10 seconds. And I saw it had something to do with the terror radius and like hiding by a hook, and they're just like, no, he's not supposed to be a stealth killer, stop doing that. So they just got rid of that, I guess. Sure, I don't know. I don't know what it was used for before. I don't know if that's a massive nerf or just to like, hey, stop doing this the unintended way. So either way, that's the knight. He's been buffed to, well, he's been buffed to use longer paths. Is it still gonna be worth it? Yeah. But it's something. It is something. All right. And then finally, the biggest change of all. What? No network connection. But I was using that. Okay, well, you can look at this screen while we talk about the nurse. Woo! All right, so the nurse, the big change is something that people have been saying for a long time. You know, like I was talking earlier, like you want someone big's opinions, you know, you can watch Otz's video and hear what he has to say. This is something, you know, Otz has been saying for a long time as a killer man. You know, and other people have been saying it too. It's not just like, here's one guy who said stuff. The big change to Nurse is her blink attacks are no longer regular attacks. And you're like, I don't know enough about the game. What? I don't care. What's that mean? It means a hell of a lot. Because regular attack perks no longer work with blink. You know, she was designed with this power to go through walls and like avoid obstacles and stuff, but when she was released, the game was different than it is now, and there are a lot of strong perks for basic M1 killer stuff to help, you know, with the fact that basic M1 killers generally aren't very strong. But she was getting all the benefits of these like basic attack things while having a really damn good power. So now things like Noed, Starstruck, Jolt, like those don't work with her anymore, which is great. That's amazing. Her blink attacks are now special attack. Presumably, if she's just like walking and doesn't attack, that still is an M1. But unless you're using like that one add-on where you lose all of your, you only give one blink charge, but then you move at like regular speed. I guess for a build like that, maybe it will make a difference, but generally speaking, she's not going to get the basic attack perks. And that's great because she was way overpowered. Now, you know, this is the one thing, like, Nurse killers are probably going, no, boo, I hate this game. Like, get your head out of your asses. She was too strong. There are still other problematic things in the game. So, you know, now instead of seeing a hell of a lot of Nurses, you're going to see a hell of a lot of Blights because he still has issues, but that's a different story for a different day. He's not in this update. We don't care about him. Besides that, the Nurse, there are some that her add-ons have basically all been completely reworked. I think some of them are that there's no more distance perks because they were broken. There was an unintended thing of like, if she had more distance, she was also going faster because of the way Blink works, which wasn't, in fact, I think to the point that if you wanted to, it was faster to use a distance perk than it was to use a go faster, like less cooldown perk or whatever. So I don't think there are distance ones anymore. There are a bunch of new ones, and they're saying like her strongest ones have been weakened, her weakest ones have been strengthened, so that they're all just kind of in the center. I know there was one that's kind of different now where it's an add-on where like after she uses all her blinks, she has the option to press a button and go back to the start of where she was and get all her blinks back, which is kind of cool. You know, like you could chase someone and then maybe they get away and so you're like, okay, I'm gonna go back because I want to go the other way. Or maybe you chase someone and you hit them and you're like, okay, they're injured, I want to go back, go hit someone else now. It's that, you know, we'll see how it goes, but it seems cool. I mean, not that I'm gonna play Nurse, but like, I don't care that they give her this thing, even as a survivor. Like, is it weak? Is it strong? I don't know, but a different way to interact with the mechanics, so that seems fun and cool. Yeah, if you want to, you can look at her ad. I didn't write down every add-on because I don't care that much. But like every add-on has been changed. I mean, and a lot of them are like this percent to this percent. So like, you know, you don't need to hear me say that. And there is actually one other thing that is really cool for survivor or killer is the Nurse now has her own theme in the menu and a new terror radius and chase music. She gets, it's not just the default one anymore. She has her own thing. So neat. You know, and like no one's going to be like boo to that because it's just new music that, well, okay, unless it's like Ghostface washing machine one again, then people will be like boo, but. And that about does, oh wait, it doesn't do it yet. There is one more change. It's at the bottom here. One map is being reworked, the Area of Crows. Now they said like, oh, it's being balanced, so it's more fun for killers and survivors, which means it's actually more fun for killers because they also said specifically that it was a survivor heavy, like survivor oriented map, and they want to make it more fair for killers. So generally speaking, it's going to be worse for survivors. So I don't know about more fun for them, but the changes aren't that bad. Like, as a survivor main, I'm not like, oh, boo. Like, again, you know, it's like taking the wiggle thing away. Like, it's fine. It's okay that it negatively affects survivors. It's fine for the game. The big thing for there is the map is no longer a big rectangle. Whoop. Now it's a square. I see you through there. Hi. So now it's not, you know, and generally, like, bigger maps are bad for killers. Smaller maps are good for killers. So now it's just a square. So that makes it stronger for killers. Generators are more evenly distributed. I guess that's the part where they're like, it's more fun for survivors. Because, like, yeah, getting 3 gens sucks, but at the same time, like, if you're making the map smaller, yeah, you better rearrange the gens so they're not all squished together. Whatever. It's fine. The main building is now no longer in the center, but towards the map's edge. The strength of certain main building loops have been decreased, and new tiles have been added. The one thing that makes me go, is the strength of certain main building loops. I'm not sure, because it wasn't that strong to loop there. Like, one side had, you know, the breakable door and a window, and you had to break it as a killer to go through or go through the window. But that's really no different than Dead Dog. Like, so I hope they didn't, like, completely get rid of that. Like, the other side had a door and a window, and then there were door and door on the other. It's like the bottom is fine. The top, I guess, I don't know, like, did they remove some pallets? Did they take out some of the breakable doors so they're just broken already? Like, there's not much more you could... It's not that strong of a place, so I don't know. But going along with new tiles have been added, there is one thing I saw potentially that might be the case, in which case, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Is there maybe moving the new tiles, or, like, other tiles, away from the main building so there's a bit of space, so you can't go straight from main building to, like, jungle gym. And, you know, that seems okay. That's fine. Like, yeah, it's stronger as survivor, but, you know, when I get there as killer, I guess I'll be happy that it's a little bit more in my favor. Who knows? Those are all the changes. I've gone through them all. You know, I hope you found my information useful, and I hope that someday I can reconnect to the game. You have fun until next time. I'll just sit here going, bye. Hide in the bush. Hide in the bush. Just a bush. You might have barbecue.